Welcome to The Explainer. So today we're diving into something that is literally universal, yet completely misunderstood. The deeply human struggle of letting go. Like, why does heartbreak linger so much longer than we want it to? You know what I mean, right? Why can't you just shake someone's memory, even when you genuinely, actively want to? Well, we're going to break down the actual mechanics of moving on. And by the end of this, you're going to see this entire process through a completely different lens. Because honestly, it's really not about what you think it's about.
I mean, have you ever told yourself, okay, today I'm finally going to move on? You wake up, the sun's shining, and you make this firm, conscious decision. You convince yourself, yep, I'm ready to turn the page. You feel strong, resolute. You mentally declare you're leaving the past exactly where it belongs, in the past. It's this powerful moment of daytime clarity where you actually believe you finally crossed the finish line of your grief.
But what happens when the distractions of the day fade? Night falls, the house gets quiet, and suddenly, bam, you think about them again. Your mind just flat out refuses to let go, and you find yourself right back at square one, totally trapped by your own thoughts. It is so incredibly frustrating. But here's the secret. This nighttime relapse, it doesn't happen because you still love them. Actually, it happens because you're trapped. And not trapped by the person who left, but trapped by the version of yourself that you lost when they did. So, let's get into part one, the lie about moving on, and why common advice just fails us completely.
Society loves feeding us these dismissive cliches, right? Oh, just move on, or my personal favorite, time heals everything. But the reality is way harsher. Think about it. If time were just some automatic eraser, you wouldn't still be thinking about someone who walked out months or even years ago. Time alone doesn't just magically wipe away the impact someone had on your life. That cliche is just totally disconnected from the actual human experience of loss.
Here's the thing. Moving on is not a simple memory wipe. It's not about forcing your brain to forget someone existed. Moving on is actually this complex, fundamental reconstruction of the identity you lost when the relationship ended. See, when they left, a piece of who you were literally broke. So moving on is just the messy process of rebuilding that specific broken identity. Once you understand that, the whole picture changes. You aren't failing to forget. You are just currently under construction. Which brings us to part two, the brain's unfinished story, and the actual psychology of holding on. Okay, core psychological truth right here. Your brain absolutely hates unfinished stories. It despises them. Basically, your mind treats the sudden end of a relationship like a missing puzzle piece, and it just cannot stand the lack of resolution. When things end abruptly or without that elusive closure you feel you deserve, your brain registers it as an incomplete narrative. And since our brains are hardwired to close loops, what does it do when it can't find the end of the story? Well, to force that puzzle piece into place, your brain runs through this desperate internal checklist. It compulsively replays memories, frantically searching for answers. It scans every single conversation, every argument, every quiet moment, basically looking for a different ending to try and solve the puzzle. Every memory starts feeling like a mystery your mind incorrectly thinks it can solve. So give yourself some grace here. You aren't obsessing because you're weak. You're obsessing because your brain is functioning exactly the way it's designed to when faced with an unresolved story.
And you might wonder, why do I only remember the good times? Why do we idealize them? Well, it's not because the relationship was actually perfect. It's because your brain is actively trying to shield you from the raw pain of the present. The reality of the loss hurts so much, so your mind serves up the good times as a defense mechanism, like a psychological painkiller. It's literally trying to protect you, even though, ironically, it feels like it's torturing you.
All right, let's look at part three, the hidden truth. Who are you really missing?
I want you to really take a moment and absorb this shift in perspective, because it's an absolute game changer. You don't miss them. You miss who you were when you were with them. Mind-blowing, right? This changes everything we thought we knew about heartbreak. That intense longing you feel, it isn't actually for the person who walked out the door. You are longing for the version of yourself that existed in their presence. You miss the way you laughed around them. You miss the confidence you had. You miss the person you got to be when they were there.
What you're actually grieving here is the loss of a profound sense of safety. You know, you're missing that comforting, almost innocent belief that someone was going to stay by your side permanently. And when they left, they packed up that safety and that belief and they took it right out the door with them. That right there is the true source of the void. It's not just an empty space on the couch. It's an empty space in your foundational belief system about the world and your own security.
And honestly, that is exactly why this process is so incredibly difficult.
The absolute hardest goodbye is saying goodbye to the old version of yourself. So the grief you're experiencing, it is entirely valid, and it's deeply personal, because you aren't just moving on from a relationship, you are essentially attending a funeral for who you used to be. You have to let go of the person who felt that specific type of safe. And man, that is a tremendously heavy thing to do.
Moving on to part 4, choosing yourself again, the path to real healing.
Because here's the good news. One day, you will stop waiting for them. And it won't because your capacity to care vanished or because you somehow grew cold. It's going to happen because you finally make the conscious, empowering decision to start choosing yourself. You're going to choose your own peace over that unresolved puzzle. And the exact moment you choose your peace over the ghost of who you used to be, that is the exact moment real healing begins.
Like the quote says, sometimes the person you need to find is the version of yourself you lost. As you navigate your own journey of reclaiming your identity, just remember that the goal isn't to erase the past. It's not to solve an unsolvable puzzle. The goal is to find your way back to yourself. So, ask yourself tonight when the house gets quiet. Are you going to keep mourning the person who left? Or are you finally going to rescue the version of yourself they left behind?